Welcome back to the place where we dare to ask, is Walmart a person? And we dare to say, no, I don't think so. No, it's only a conservative would believe Walmart is a person. Barvo in Dallas, Texas. Do you believe Walmart's a person?
Well, no, it's a corporation, but I think of all the millions of people Walmart gives a job to, furnishes insurance for. So I'm not as against Walmart.
Oh, wait a minute. All the millions of people that Walmart is using to make money with?
Walmart is hiring. Walmart, how many people own homes and cars because they work at home Walmart?
Yeah, it's a fine thing, but, they could pay a little more. And they could still be profitable.
You're like...
you have the five heirs of the Walmart fortune. Just those 5 people, they have more wealth than the bottom third of all of America.
Well,
they could pay a little more.
Their daddy worked hard for it. That's fine. That's their money. They made it.
No, that's the money they took.
Took from who?
From the people who are working at Walmart. I think, I'm of the opinion that if you are going to run a business in America and you're going to pay so little that many, if not most, of your employees have to go on food stamps and other government subsidies so that you, Barvo, and me, with our tax dollars, are subsidizing the Walmart workers, then you have no right to be doing business in this country.
That's an absolute lie.
Well, it's a lie that Walmart workers qualify for food stamps? That's not a lie.
No, that the majority of them are on food stamps. That's an absolute lie.
Well, it may not be more than 50%, but it's a substantial minority. If not, it is. It's hundreds of thousands of people.
Walmart, get another job.
Well, good luck on that in an economy where all the jobs have been offshored.
Let me tell you, I didn't call to be confrontational.
Well,
I'm a conservative.
Feel free.
I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm a conservative.
Okay.
I believe that you take care of yourself. That the government
so you're selfish.
Has no responsibility to take care of you. I'm a retired doctor. Mm-hmm. I'm a Navy veteran, retired doctor, and this country is a wonderful country if people would just button up their own bootstraps and take care of themselves and not try to depend on somebody.
How long were you in the Navy?
Hard work. I was in the Navy during the Korean War.
Okay, so you were in the most socialist organization in the United States, where they provide you with housing, food, medical care, even your clothing. And that's a bad thing?
I don't care whether that's not a very substantial argument. All services take care of their people.
Well, the people who are the most happy with their health care in the United States are the people who get TRICARE. The people who are retired military who qualify for
I disagree with you.
I'm talking about you. Look at the public opinion surveys. These are the people who are happiest with their medical services.
Let me tell you.
And that's socialist medicine.
If that awful Obamacare comes into effect,
it's already in effect.
I hope and pray that it gets torn down, pulled apart, because most of the hospitals don't want it. Most of the physicians don't want it.
Not true.
I certainly wouldn't want it. That is true.
No, it's simply not. It's the hospitals are doing just fine. Most you survey most doctors, they're either ambivalent about it or in favor of it. One of my kids is working at a clinic out in Oregon that wouldn't even exist without Obamacare, and they're seeing hundreds of low income, poor people, uninsured poor people every day. It's one of the 10,000 clinics that came out of Obamacare. And those people would not be getting health services, and in fact, they'd be ending up in ERs instead because now they're getting preventative care. How is that not a good thing? Ronald Reagan required ERs to take our tax dollars and treat people, at $500 to $1,000 a whack for somebody with some kind of a disease that could have been prevented with a $30 doctor visit.
Have you read Obamacare?
You mean have I read the 3,000 pages of the rules and regulations in the law? No. Have you?
Well, I have. I bought it. I called the United States Printing Office. I bought it. Sent them a check. Well, give them my credit card, and I have. It's taken me a long time.
I can imagine.
I've cherry-picked it, but I've gone through it.
So what about it don't you like?
I don't like because it's socialized medicine.
No, it's not. TRICARE is socialized medicine. The VA is socialized medicine. Socialized medicine is where the government owns the doctors. They hire the doctors directly, and they own the hospitals. In Obamacare, the hospitals are still privately owned, and the doctors are still independent contractors, and the government is not hiring anybody other than a few bureaucrats to move money around, to and from and through the health insurance companies, which are also being kept intact.
Well, why is it that when the worst president the United States has ever had, Obama, said it's only going to cost $900 million when it's well over $1 trillion that it's cost. $900 billion.
Obamacare is actually, according to the Congressional Budget Office this year, it has reduced our budget deficit by almost $100 billion. If you did away with Obamacare, if you did what Michelle Bachmann introduced into Congress this year and just canceled out all the parts of Obamacare, the federal budget deficit would go up by $100 billion, and you'd have a whole bunch of people who are getting services in the clinic where my daughter works who would no longer get those services. They'd have to go to the ER, and you and I would have to pay out of our tax dollars $500 to $1,000 for each one of those people instead of the $20 or $30 that it's costing to treat them in that clinic that my daughter works at. And
let me tell you what.
And that's why it's saving us money.
You evidently are a nice young man, have a family, but I don't understand liberals, and I call them liberals. They use the word progressive because they don't want to use the word liberal.
I'm both.
The money is going to, they love that until somebody else's other people's money runs out.
It's a nice slogan, but it doesn't make any sense. Can you give me an example of what you're talking about?
Sure. What's happened to? I've gone on mission trips to Cuba and worked in their hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
That's total. So it's the worst.
That's communism. That's not a system of governments of economy or governance that I am supporting or favoring. Well, they call it socialism. The Norwegians would not call it socialism. The Scandinavian, the Swedes, the Finns, the Danes, the Germans, the French, all the democratic socialist countries of Europe that are doing very well, thank you very much. Denmark was just voted internationally the happiest place in the world, and number 2 was Norway. In fact, it was all.
I've traveled all those countries.
Okay, those are all socialist countries. They call themselves democratic socialist countries. Cuba may call themselves socialist, but it's communism. It's the government owns the means of supply and distribution. There is no element of that in Obamacare. The only medical care system in the United States where the government owns the means of supply and distribution is the Veterans Administration. The government owns the VA hospitals. The government hires the VA doctors. But even with the Veterans Administration, they still buy drugs from private companies. They still buy machinery and equipment from private companies. There's no comparison between that and what's going on in Cuba.
Well, I've heard some of your friends that on your side of the aisle talk about what a wonderful medical treatment is in Cuba, and I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not true.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. I've not been there, so
really
I don't know.
Not.
I think though, if you're a little tiny country and you're operating under an embargo where you can't buy anything, you can't even buy a syringe from the United States, and you're making do, and you're actually getting a lifespan that's equal to the United States, and in some cases better, that you got to be doing something right.
Well, I don't know about the lifespan. I have not seen any figures on that, but they don't have trouble getting supplies from anywhere. They get supplies from Canada. One of their when I was there and been there twice, one of the countries they get a lot of things from is France and Italy.
Yeah.
They're not cut off from the Western world at all. But my problem, sir, with you is, and I just don't understand. You talk about all these people that need care. We don't really have abject poverty in this country. Most people have a car. They have a house of some kind. They have a TV. They have air conditioning. They have a cell phone. There's really not abject poverty.
I would respectfully submit that you have never worked in the genuinely poor parts of this country for you to say that.
I have not. I've worked in poor parts of my state, and I've given my services away many times. And there are poor, and there are people that are poor, need help. But we don't need to take care of people from cradle to grave.
No, I'm not suggesting we should. What I'm suggesting is that if somebody wants to do business in America and make so much money off that business that 5 of those people are worth more than a third of America combined, that the very least they can do is pay a wage where their employees don't have to go on government assistance to have food for their kids.
Well, I'm not. You know about that, and I don't. It just seems impossible. One of the heirs to the fortune lives in my city, and I don't know her, but I'm not jealous of anybody. But
I'm not jealous. I just think it's ill-gotten gains.
Oh no, it's not ill-gotten. They offer
sure it is.
Service. They offer. Why is it ill-gotten gains when
because
people want to?
Because we have, our economy has doubled in size. It's doubled in size since Ronald Reagan became president. And during that time that the economy has doubled in size, the wealth of the top 1% has more than tripled in size. The income of the top 1% has almost quintupled in size. The wages of the bottom 80% have actually gone down. Now, there's something fundamentally wrong with that, particularly given that the bottom 80% are the ones who spend virtually 100% of their income. They're the ones who keep the economy going. They're the real job creators. And they're the ones who pay their actual taxes. They pay 100% of their income as taxed for Social Security and Medicare. I mean, Robert Reich, the former labor secretary under Clinton, did the math, and he said that, if the productivity increase, that doubling of productivity that we've seen in the last 32 years, was matched by the wage increase that we saw from the George Washington administration to the Reagan administration, the average family would not be making $44,500 a year right now. They'd be making $90,000. But instead, the Walmart heirs are taking the money. That's my point. Barbara, I hope you will call back another time and we can have a more thoughtful conversation on some of the other dimensions of this. But the machine is cutting us off here. Thanks a lot for the call.